Hey guys, Jason here from Train 2.0, and in this video we're going to go over Nathan MacKinnon versus Connor McDavid. What is similar about their mechanics? What is different? What accounts for their differences in performance? And I think you guys will like what you see. There's a one main difference that sets them apart on the start, and one main difference that sets them apart in the rest of this race. And we'll also look at McDavid's latest fastest skating speed competition, and let's jump right into it. So right off the bat, what we're going to see is two different starting styles. We won't go too in depth here, but basically MacKinnon uses an open hip starting style, whereas McDavid is going to use a crossover starting style. And I don't know if there's too much literature on it, but some studies have shown that a crossover step seems to be quicker, and I think that's what accounts for the distance off the hop that McDavid is able to gain. And then the next few strides, they're almost equal. I mean, McDavid has pulled ahead slightly, but I think, again, that's because of the start. But if you look at their stride rate and how much they're pushing, it's about equal. Then what sets McDavid apart is his turns. So we'll get into that in a second, but let's break down the start a little more closely. First thing is, watch how MacKinnon orients his blade to the ice. I talked about this in my video called How to Improve Your Acceleration in Hockey. And what we see is that blade orients directly facing out this way so that he can push back. There's no slide. And he does that on his second step too. So there's no sliding going on. It's just a direct push back that allows him to use all the musculature in his leg to push directly back. And this is similar to McDavid's stride, and we'll talk about kind of those differences in a second. The second thing to look at with MacKinnon is how his knee is oriented. We call this a valgus knee alignment in, biomechanical terms. And I see and hear some skating coaches, some with tons of really great degrees, who say you need to keep your knees out when you are skating and accelerating, meaning you have a varus knee alignment like this. Maybe I'm taking what they're saying out of context, but that's not what's happening here. We see a valgus knee alignment, and that is to allow the blade to orient towards the ice in a way that's going to grip it the most. That's what we see with MacKinnon off the start. With McDavid, the start is a little different, and that clip is right here-ish. His start is a little different. Like I said, he's using a crossover start, so I think that's what accounts. When you see McDavid right here, he's already further ahead because of his crossover start. So he had an advantage that way. But then it ends up being almost stride for stride. Now, the main difference with McDavid, or maybe not the main difference, but a difference with McDavid, and we'll see it really, really well here because I've had people ask me about the tipped hip and twisting the hips in straight ahead skating. Now, I want to keep in mind, or have you keep in mind, that straight ahead skating accounts for maybe 5% of skating in a game. So it shouldn't really be something you focus on too much. But I know you're interested, so we'll look at it anyway. But what's allowing McDavid kind of that little extra burst of speed is what we call the tipped hip and the hip twist. Tough to see with MacKinnon's black pants, but I'd suggest that McDavid's hips are tilted at a slightly more aggressive angle than MacKinnon's, a little bit. And then what we see from this tipped hip is it's actually going to allow the hips to rotate forward a little bit better. So what you're going to see here is the hips are facing kind of this way if we had the hip headlights on. And as McDavid strides, you notice he drives his arms, which drives his rib cage, which now is going to drive his hip. And watch here. You see how that final extension, his hips go from facing this way to, which way are they facing now? They're facing this way. The hips, the pelvis is now facing this way. Same thing on this stride. He's, again, driving with his arms, then his rib cage, now his hips. Boom. And you see how they twist, and that's what kind of snaps that leg into place. See that there? I'll go again. Twist, boom, snap. So I think MacKinnon has this as well. If we look back on this side, MacKinnon has this as well, that hip twist, You can see it right there. The leg almost extends and then the hip twists. But I think because McDavid has his hips tilted more, he's able to get more twist than MacKinnon. But like I say, on the straightaway, there's no separation other than the starting point. But once we get into the turns, that's when McDavid really starts to take off. So the difference, I think, is they end up actually, McDavid actually has the more efficient footwork pattern too, because if you watch, they both are pushing off their left foot, but McDavid is, the way his feet line up, he goes able right into his crossover, whereas MacKinnon has to kind of reorient his feet before getting into his crossover. So that's kind of the next thing, as we see McDavid, whereas MacKinnon here is pushing, McDavid is gliding. Look how narrow his feet are. McDavid has already taken his kind of accelerating step to the middle, and now he's gliding, whereas MacKinnon is gliding a little bit after, and this is where you really see that separation. Boom, right? They went into the corner pretty neutral, and McDavid is already crossing over out of it from here, and MacKinnon's feet are planted. They're too far apart relative to McDavid's, and McDavid has already got his feet up and going, and he's already striding here. So that's kind of where they end up getting separated. Let's go back to this starting point here, where again we're gonna be able to see how he's using those hips, the hip twist. You can see how the hip headlights are facing this way. He already has a step on MacKinnon, and it seems like there's a lot longer plant time with MacKinnon here, where McDavid kind of bounces off the ground. And those hips, the shoulders turn this way, hip opens. You can see how his hip is faced this way, very much knee in a valgus alignment, which is against what most strength and conditioning coaches would say. And then arms twist. You can see how the rib cage now is dissociating from the hips. So now the hips follow, and the hips, you can really see them twist there, and then it snaps open from pointing this direction to snapping open this way. I'm sure you guys can see that really clearly there. So that's kind of like a difference maker. Again, what I think MacKinnon does a great job at, better than most, right? McDavid is kind of another level. But what MacKinnon is really able to do a great job of is orienting his blades, and I think he's very, very powerful, which allows him to, when he's able to orient his blades correctly, he's able to push directly back and have all that force help him travel forward. And I venture that MacKinnon's probably got more power in his legs than McDavid. Like if you were to have him do a squat, MacKinnon could probably out squat McDavid, or a clean, or probably even a jump. MacKinnon could probably, this is just my guess, I don't know for sure, I'm definitely not qualified to guess, but I'm going to guess anyway, that MacKinnon is going to be more powerful than McDavid, but McDavid's technique is a little bit cleaner. So a lot of you guys asked for the MacKinnon breakdown. I think it's interesting to compare them. Now let's just look quickly at McDavid's fastest skater. I think this is from this year, where again we're going to see a really similar starting technique, but the thing I really wanted to explain or show was just how quickly he's able to get his feet crossing over, heading into that turn. There's no lag there between skating forward and then getting into crossovers. He's able to go right from crossovers into, or right from straight ahead strides into crossovers. Now I'm going to suggest that that is because of his foot placement and his center of mass placement. So let's clear that up, because a lot of you guys had questions about that. So as he's going, notice how his shoulders and body orients over his feet like this, like he's riding a bike around a corner. So it's like he's riding a bike around the corner. He's leaning the bike to get around the corner, and his feet don't travel too far apart. They plant quite close together, allowing his center of mass to be stable. If he was planting his 1 foot here and 1 foot there, then his center of mass would kind of have to travel back and forth. But instead, because his feet are kind of planting in one spot, he's able to keep that alignment like he's riding a bike. His feet are planting close together, and because it's not a push, it's more of rearranging the feet in order to have the lean. He's able to go flying around at this pace, and I really think it's due to his technique, his mechanics of placing his feet close together, and then having his center of mass oriented like this, similar to riding a bike. We call that riding a rail. So that was kind of one thing I wanted to point out that stands out to me. And like I said, the turns really separated McDavid from MacKinnon on this race. So I hope you guys got some new information from this little breakdown, and you learned something new. Now, this is kind of like the theoretical, kind of my observations as a kinesiologist, but if you're looking to actually apply this, it's a little more challenging than just looking at it and hearing the theory behind it and then applying it. So at Train 2.0, what we aim to do is to make the instructions for players simple, trustworthy, so based on research, and then measurable. So what we've done is we've taken these mechanics, and not everyone learns these mechanics automatically. Sometimes they learn it through different situations, but what we've done is we've made these instructions very simple and easy for you to follow to learn the mechanics. So if you are wanting to actually apply them to learn in-game and get results for yourself, that's what we do. So if you're interested in the breakdown and you enjoyed it, I'm glad. And if you have any questions, please comment below, share, leave a like. But if you want to go and apply this, we have stuff for that right now. So I actually have a free McDavid drive wide guide that you can access right now. And you can kind of get started there. And if you'd like to check out the Train 2.0 membership, where we have all the drills that are really cool, people are really loving them. And they're really easy, simple to use to learn the mechanics beyond just the theory. We have that as well. So thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you in another video sometime soon. Good luck with your training, and hope you had fun.